Question 6. Now guys, please make sure you check the calculations. I'm doing a lot of these in my head. One digit wrong here or there can actually mean that the whole thing looks wrong for you. Just check the solution. You have the solution online, so make sure that the numbers are adding up. I'm just trying to show the methodology here. Anyway, question 6. Departmental salaries for the year were rooms 100,000, food 156,000, beverages 85,000, to telecoms 1,200. Were paid from the bank account. An additional 10% of the salaries were paid by Social Security as Social Security 1 month after the salary payment from the bank. Now this is actually a very simple transaction because we're just paying the salaries and we're paying them directly from the bank. So you have your salaries T account. Now the salaries technically is a service cost, it's a direct cost for each of the different areas. We might have a different salaries account for the different departments, but for now we're just going to have it classified as a service cost. As with all costs, it's going to be on the debit side, so I mean it's going to increase over here on the left. And the salaries were rooms, food, beverages, and telecoms. Telecoms? Okay. Rooms, 100,000. Food, 156,000. Beverages, 85,000. Telecoms, 1,200. And of course they were paid from the bank, so that comes straight out of the bank. 100,000, 156,000, 85,000, and 1,200. And that's it. That's the first part of the question done. Nothing more complicated than that because it was paid directly. The second part of the question says, an additional 10% of the salaries were paid as Social Security 1 month after the salary payment from the bank. Now the key point to all of this is, when did the business open? And as you can see, the owners invested the money in the account and the business was bought on January the 2nd, which means that it only opened this year. Now that normally is not all that relevant, but in this case, because we're paying the salaries later, it is relevant. Now we also, because we don't have any breakdown, have to make the assumption that the salaries, or in our case here, the taxes on the salaries, are exactly equal month on month, because we've been given nothing to suggest otherwise. So the idea would be, in January, we didn't pay any salaries because we weren't open in December. In February, we paid the salaries. This is the month. We paid for January. In March, we paid for February. In April, paid for March, etc., etc., etc. Always 1 month later. So we are 1 month behind in our payments all the way. And that's fine until you get down here. So all of a sudden, now you're in November. You're paid for October. December pays for November. But we still have to pay, or certainly account for, December. And knowing the months of the year, you obviously realize that that means that that was paid in January. Problem is, we are closing the accounts for this 12 months, which actually means that we made 11 payments from 12 debts. So we owed it 12 times, we paid it 11 times. And that's all that it means. So what it suggests is that every single month we are a month behind. So the first thing we do is we create an account for that called Social Security. Now because we are 1 month behind, it means that we're not paying it this month. If I was paying it directly, it'd come from the bank. So, but I'm not. I'm paying it 1 month later. So that's Social Security payable, which is a current liability. Social Security payable. Now, like all current liabilities, it increases on this side. Now, of course, I don't really know what the Social Security is. I mean, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get rid of the salaries to make this easier for me. So I know that all the Social Security charges have to go there, but at the moment I don't know what they are. So therefore, I'm going to have a Social Security, which again is a service cost. I mean, we need to account for the actual cost of the Social Security, because I can't pay it unless I know what it is. So the cost of the Social Security, if it's 10% of the salaries, so that means that the service cost again increases here on the debit side. So we know therefore it's 10,000, 15,600, 8,500 and 1,002. No, and 120. 10%. So therefore this is how much we have to pay. And because we're not paying it right now, well, we put all of it into the account that said that we were going to pay it later. Now that account, that's fine. So that's the initial account. But as we saw here, even though when it was due in January, we paid it in February. So therefore it went in here, but eventually it did come out. So all of the 11 payments have come out. These are the 12 payments, but the 11 payments did not. The 11 payments came out. So we've got to account for, if this is 12, we've got to say that 11 payments we did pay from the bank already. We only need to pay one more payment. We only owe for December. So what I'm going to do for all of these here is I'm just going to divide them by 12 and multiply them by 11 to find out. If I divide by 12, I find out how much it is monthly, multiply by 11 to find out how much the 11 months were that I have already paid. Right, so what do we got? There we go. And so this is what we've already paid this year, which is basically each of these divided by 12 multiplied by 11. Because it's 11 months. Divide by 12 to find the monthly cost, multiply by 11 to find the cost of 11 months. And we paid them from the bank. So I'm just going to put these as money paid from the bank. 14,300, 7, 9, 2, and 1, 10. Don't worry about the decimal points in this instance, where it's you will be doing these on computers in the real world, so this time it's not such a big deal. And that is basically it. So that is the question. The salaries, very straightforward. Social Security, because we didn't pay it immediately, we opened up a Social Security payable account. And then, because we paid 11 of the 12 months already, we're going to put it here. If it was 9 in the 12 months, we would have divided by 12 and multiplied by 9. You know, if we were 3 months late. If we were 4 months late, it would have been 8. You know, so it's just the difference. That's all it is. And that's all question 6, is it? That's it. And just because it's getting quite late at this point, I'll do question 7. Now, so we can start on question 8 tomorrow. Albeit, we're not going to know if it's tomorrow or not. Anyhow, question 7. We took a loan 4 or 5 years of 40,000 and it was paid into the bank account. So we have a loan. Now, it's 4 or 5 years. So of course we have a loan here that could be a loan payable, could be a loan, whatever it might be. But because it's 5 years, which means it's more than 1 year, anything that's more than 12 months means it's no longer current, it is now long term. So this loan is going to be a long-term liability. Now liabilities increase on the credit side, so therefore we're going to put it here. The loan was for 40,000 and it was paid into our bank account. Now, bear in mind, the repayment of this loan we will get to, but the initial part of it is just 40,000 euros that we borrowed and it was paid into our bank account, and that is literally